Mate lovers, I have a lot to show you today about this wonderful drink that's called Yerba Mate, which seems to have been growing in popularity in the past few years. And there are a lot of things you need to know about it, a lot of the ways to do it correctly, and what makes for a good mate. So even though you see the drinks or even mate sodas, and you'll see it in health food stores, it's not a new thing. It's been around for a long, long, long time. And I've been drinking it for well over 20 years, back from my days in Argentina, which is practically a national pastime there. So all of my mate knowledge comes directly from the source, from Argentina, where it is just a way of life. So before we talk about the various items that we have and how to do it, just so you know, if you ever want to look for mate or spell it, there's no accent over the E. So it looks like M-A-T-E, mate, but it's not. It's, of course, mate. If you have an accent over the E, mate in Spanish means I killed. You don't want to say that. So good old yerba mate, and I've got my traditional gourd here. The cup you drink mate out of is also called a mate. And this is the very traditional kind. It's actually a dried, hollowed out gourd. And it has a little decorative metal collar on it. And then my fanciest bombilla right here. The bombilla is a decorative metal straw with a filter on the end. And that's going to filter out all the solid leaf and stuff and just give you the actual drink. And so this is the traditional, very old-fashioned style here. It's my favorite, my fanciest one, if you will, and we'll see other ones in the future. You, of course, will need the mate itself, and there are many varieties and flavors now. And you'll also, of course, need some sugar, more than likely. You can also do it with honey. That's what I've done sometimes. I know people that use other sweeteners. You can do it if you're really tough, just straight up amargo or bitter. But I've got my my containers and everything here ready to go. You'll also want a fairly nice kettle, one with a really delicate narrow spout is a good one to use to pour it in there. This one actually is from Argentina as well. So to prepare the mate, a few things to note is that you want to fill up whatever container you're using about halfway, maybe a little bit less. And sometimes I make the mistake of filling up more than that. But make sure that you're filling it up about halfway, because the dry leaves, as they get the water, will actually swell and increase. And it's very easy to have too much in there, and you need some space for the water to go in for it to mix. So you want to make sure you do it about halfway, half full, and you can actually continue to fill it later on if you want. An important step that I take, and this is just from the region where I was in Argentina, is that once I put the leaves in there, I fill it with cold water. And then I suck out the cold water and spit it out, and some left now with wet leaves. The idea then is that the wet leaves will take to the hot water better than completely dry leaves. The idea is to extend the life of your mate so that as you're drinking from the cup, it lasts as long as possible. And this is supposed to be one technique to help it last. As you drink the mate, it's going to eventually lose strength. It's going to become lavado or washed. And so at some point, it's just going to turn into hot sugar water. But you want to keep drinking it while it still has the strength there. So if your mate is ready, now you want your hot water. Here's an important issue with the water, and that is that I heat it up, but I don't boil it. You don't want boiling water. And in Argentina especially, they were very big about making sure your water did not boil. So you want hot but not boiling. So I watch it, and as soon as the water gets to where it's quivering and a couple of bubbles come up, I take it off right away. You don't want really heavily boiled water. So I got my hot water, and I'm ready to go. And here's how it works. Generally speaking, mate, at least in Argentina and many South American countries, is very much a social custom, and you're doing it with a group of people. The way that works is one person is in charge of it. So that one person, in this case myself, makes it each time. So one person does the making, and everyone else just does the drinking. So I put my sugar in right here, and you put in the amount of sugar that you want. Some people like it sweeter, some people like it more bitter, and you might want to put in more sugar as you start out because it'll be a little bit stronger, and as it gets a bit weaker, you can put in less sugar. So I'm going to pour in my water right here into the mate Again, the mate also refers to the cup as well. And I might give it a little bit of a stir, and that makes things settle a bit. And I'm going to pour a little bit more water. There we go. And the important thing here is that the person serving the mate is sort of in charge. And you have to kind of control the situation. And what you're looking for is to give everyone the best mate experience. And what's interesting is that the person who is serving it takes the first drink. The reason for that is that the first drink tends to be a bit harsh and bitter. So as you being the server, you would take it and you would drink it down. So since that's what I am doing here, that's what I'll do. Now this little gourd here, while it might look small, has very thin walls, but actually will hold quite a bit. But it's very much, like I say, a social lubricant, if you will, in that it's good for sitting around, getting conversations going, and for having a good time. So the thing to do is you want to make sure you drink all the mate. Now, there are many rules in Argentina, anyway, to make sure that you do this correctly and you're not rude. And I'll let you know what those are. So what you want to do is you want to drink it down, but don't slurp it where it makes loud sucking noises. That's considered extremely rude. So you wouldn't want to hear this. Very bad form. I'd want to stop drinking before I ever got to that point. So I've drunk it down to where it's empty of water pretty much. And I'm going to make the next serving of it. I'll put the sugar in. And generally speaking, you are attentive to your guest request if they want it to be more on the sweet side or more on the bitter side. And then you can give it a little stir, and that's it. One thing I'd like to show you is what a good mate should look like. This might look a little bit strange, but what you want to see in here is it should look very foamy. I'm not sure how much I can tip this here, but you want it to be very foamy and sort of like a thick lather almost at the top. And so that tells you that the leaves are strong. It's going to be good. So you drink it down. If I had anyone with me, I would pass it to the next person, of course, without drinking it. And they would drink that down, hand it back to me, and you go around. Everyone gets a turn. And so there are other ways of doing this. I think even some people want to specifically do it counterclockwise when you're sitting at a table. That bit is not so important. But two things are important as you are drinking it when someone serves you the mate. Of course, the big one is not making the slurping sound. Another one is don't move the bombilla around too much. That's kind of rude, sort of showing the person that made it that you aren't quite satisfied with how they did it. You just want to drink it. When it's done, hand it back. That's it. No messing around, no picking it up, no trying to fix it. And you certainly wouldn't want to put anything else in it after it's been given to you. So you would drink it down, go over this a bit more, and hand it back. Right? So now when it gets handed back to me, then it's ready to go for the next person. And just kind of keep going round and round until you're done, or until a person is done and says, no thanks, I've had enough. And you can do this for however long you want. It can take hours and hours. But what will happen is if you do it long enough, that the leaves will tend to get washed. They'll lose their strength. And so one reason you don't want to fill it up too much is that you have some space in there to fill up more. So as it starts to get a little bit weaker, you can take your spoon here and take some leaves and put a little bit, like another spoonful or half spoonful in. And that'll be extending it while you're doing it, so that it doesn't have to be, stay weak all the time. So that's a fairly common thing in Argentina to do as well, to gradually put stuff in after, 10 or 15 minutes of being passed around, so that it extends it out a bit more. And that should give you some good tips on how to make a good mate and how to enjoy it and share that with your friends. Hope you enjoyed this, and in future episodes, we'll be looking at new flavors, various other mates and bombillas, how to serve it, and just somewhat of my preferred flavors and brands are. Until then, enjoy the mate.